Authorities are reporting that 2 people in Texas were killed on Saturday when the Tesla Model S they were in crashed into a tree with no one in the driver's seat. This story is once again raising questions in media reports about the safety of Tesla's autopilot system. So let's be really clear about something. There is no autonomous or semi-autonomous driving system on the consumer market today that does not require a driver to remain attentive and engaged. And no manufacturer, including Tesla, makes any claims to the contrary. In fact, there is no way to use Tesla's autopilot system without providing regular and frequent minor inputs to the steering wheel. In order to leave the driver's seat and have the car continue driving, one would almost certainly have to use some sort of defeat device to trick the system into thinking that there was a driver at the wheel. We've criticized Tesla's messaging about autopilot and full self-driving in the past, but if reports are to be believed, there's no way to see this as anything but gross irresponsibility on the part of the occupants. Elon Musk's Boring Company promises a futuristic world with super-fast travel between different points on a map, all with an ultra-sleek, fully enclosed capsules levitating in a tube of partially evacuated air. Then more recently, that idea was replaced with traditional tunnels through which fully autonomous Tesla cars would zip at breakneck speed. But how did the reality of the Boring Company experience compare to those expectations? Not so well. Last week, the Boring Company invited members of the press to experience its just-finished network of tunnels under Las Vegas, and their reaction was pretty meh. That's because right now, the tunnels under Las Vegas aren't particularly long, the Teslas travelling through them are being driven by a human, and each car's top speed doesn't go much above 30 miles per hour, or 50 kilometers per hour. It is far from the utopian travel we'd hoped for, though if we discount the safety concerns of some of our team members, it does at least beat trying to navigate the Las Vegas Strip in a tour bus. It might be disappointing, but it sure is better than the alternative. The US Environmental Protection Agency's Inspector General has released a report detailing how the agency disregarded the concerns of its own experts when the Trump administration rolled back fuel economy targets set during President Obama's time in office. The in-depth report lays out how then EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt chose to rely solely on the analysis of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Traditionally, the EPA worked with NHTSA to create science-backed emission standards. By shutting out EPA staff with critical knowledge about the impact of rollback on the people's health and environment, the new standards were instead designed based primarily on how they would affect the auto industry, putting profits of the industry above the health and well-being of Americans. In parts of the country, especially in disadvantaged communities, poor air quality is still, today, a major cause of premature death. The report, celebrated by environmental groups as well as Democrats, may provide a boost to the Biden administration's efforts to tighten emission standards and the transition of the auto industry sector away from internal combustion engine vehicles. The FIA, or Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, is the governing body for many of the largest racing series around the world. This week, it released technical regulations for a new class of electric race car. The new electric GT category will be most similar to current GT3 cars. Manufacturers with a background in producing either internal combustion or electric vehicles will be allowed into the new category. Moving on to the specs, a maximum motor power of 430 kilowatts will place the electric GT series well above the current Formula E cars in terms of performance. All cars will use lithium-ion pouch batteries supplied by Schaff. However, teams have freedom over the design and configuration of each vehicle's battery pack. All packs will have a capacity of 87 kilowatt-hours, which will be able to be charged at incredible rates, up to 700 kilowatts, making for pit stops only lasting a few minutes. For reference, most current EVs struggle to reach 250 kilowatts when charging. You're not going to believe this, but Zero Motorcycles is 15 years old, and wow, have things come a long way for the brand in those 15 years. While its first Zero S, the 2010 Zero S, was a sharp-looking bike, it only had a range of 50 miles and a top speed of 70 miles an hour. Today, the company produces 9 models and variants, with the longest-legged model having 223 miles, 358 kilometers of range, and the fastest Zero topping out at 124 miles, 200 kilometers an hour. But the model we love most here is the Zero DSR adventure bike. And in order to celebrate Earth Day this week and 15 years of making electric motorcycles, Zero is offering a limited edition DSR. The bike will be available in 5 nature-inspired colors, and $500 from every sale is going to the National Forest Foundation, the official non-profit and fundraising partner to the United States National Forest Service. If you're interested in picking up a special edition DSR, you can find a local Zero Motorcycles dealer through the company's website.